So let's move on to optimization principles that have to do with call to action copy. And this is the stuff that I really think is fascinating. This is one of my favorite research areas. So we covered the first optimization principle, which is that in the last critical moment, it's the call to action copy that makes the prospect click. So the second one is that the more value and relevance the copy conveys, the more clicks it will get. The third one is that you should focus on what the prospect gets by clicking the call to action rather than what he or she has to part with. In order to exemplify, I'm just going to use an example from a case study for one of my Danish clients. It's a chain of gyms, and this is from a series of landing page treatments we did. The purpose of the landing page was to make people sign up to buy a gym membership. But we knew, it's pretty logical, we knew that the location of the gym is essential in making the buying decision. Of course, I mean, if you're going to buy a gym membership, you want the gym to be close by. And what happens when you click the button is you get to the first step in the payment funnel, and on the first step you can see the locations of the gyms. So the first button said buy membership. And it's not necessarily the worst copy you could come up with, but it is negative. All it really says is that you're going to have to part with your money in a few steps. So we could pretty easily make this button copy positive. We could say, get your membership. So now we're adding value. Now we're talking about what you're going to get and not what you have to part with. Okay, the problem with this button is that it's not super relevant. It's pretty generic still. You could use this button copy on any page that has anything to do with a membership. So let's make it more relevant. Let's write find gym and get membership. So now we have a button that conveys both relevance and value. These rows of tests were part of an overall lift of 300%. And I've performed the same treatment on numerous buttons, and it works. I've only seen a few cases where the generic button copy for some reason has outperformed my relevant and valuable copy. But in most cases, this really works. Also notice that maybe from a design perspective, you would say that there's far too many words in the call to action or it's far too big. The fact remains that it converts much better, and that's what's important. So before I was talking about how your calls to action, they tie together the different steps in the conversion funnel. So I want to show you an example of how we increased how many prospects went from one step to the other, all the micro yeses, all the way to the big yes. This is an example from RightWork also that I talked about earlier. So on the landing page here, the control was get instant access now. This is not bad copy at all. It's positive, it's talking about what you're going to get. But again, it's not relevant. What you want to do is read the full essay. So we changed it to read the full essay and tested it. We saw a 64% increase in click-through. And on the next step, again, we knew that urgency is a benefit on this particular website, so we changed it from choose plan to get started, and we saw an increase in click-through of almost 12%. And on the final page, I showed you this example before, we saw a significant lift in payments on the final step just by tweaking the copy. Okay, so if you want to write call to action copy that conveys value and relevance and converts, the two things you can do. You can ask yourself two questions. I just realized I forgot two on the second bullet point. You know there are two of them. Anyways, the two questions are, what is my prospect's motivation for clicking this button? And the second one is, what is my prospect going to get when he or she clicks the button? The answers to these questions are the basis for your new optimized button copy. Of course, you'll have to tweak it and massage it and, most importantly, test it, but it's a great basis for getting it right.